Hi guys, thanks for joining us. I'm Charles Church with COLURE Hair Care. So today we're going to do a modern shag for you. We're going to show you a few different little texturizing techniques. Really nice pattern to create the overall shape before you get into the texturizing. And we're going to easily solve one of the major things that every hairdresser in the world hears, which is, I want an entirely different look, but I don't want any length taken off, okay? That's what we're going to solve today. We're also going to give you something that you can repeat over and over for various types of hair densities and textures, and it's still a very working pattern for you to use. All right, so let's cut some hair. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pipe down the parietal. I'm going to bring that all the way around to the center of the back, not down here, but center of the crown, okay? So parietal all the way around to here will be the same thing on this side, okay? All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come right in, we're gonna find our parietal ridge. Just put your hand on there, you can feel the curvature of that head. We wanna come down to just below the top of the ridge and take all of that hair, a nice part again. Remember, we talked in the beginning about the fact that we're gonna take this section to the center of the crown. So I'm going to come around, I'm going to catch that, bring it right around in a more of a horseshoe shape versus a V. And just for control, I'm going to take one clamp and clamp that side. Okay, then I'm going to take all this up and I'm going to take it to the other side of the head. As I do that, I'm going to split the section in two because my fingers aren't long enough to get the whole section at once. Okay, so we'll bring all this up, and then we're going to over direct to the other side of the head. All right, so got everything brought up. I put the clip in the back to keep my section neat. I'm actually just going to clip that there well below my parietal. Now, as I bring this across, I'm going to split this into two, and I'm just going to bring this back section and lightly let it lay. Okay? As I bring this across, I'm going to use the parietal over here as my guideline, but I'm not going to bring it right down to it. I'm going to bring this up until it comes off of the head. I don't want to wrap and cut this. A lot of people want to bring it over here and wrap it and cut it, right? Which is great, but what happens is the push of the curvature of the head then creates a little bit of difference, a little bit of wave by having it coming this way and then having the head push out, then coming back down. So we're going to bring it up until it comes right off the head at this angle, and I'm going to bring all of this up to above the parietal. Okay, my parietal's right there. I come right up here above the parietal. I'm making an arbitrary decision. I'm going to cut perfectly horizontal. Just like that. Okay. Come across. At this point, pick up my other piece. Same thing. Bring it all the way across to the same spot. So we're cutting a horizontal guide, but it's a stationary guide. But the over direction and elevation is creating a vertically layered haircut. Okay, so again, come across. There we are, nice and horizontal. This, with the over direction from the center of the back, will also leave us just a little bit of extra length right into the center of the crown. So instead of it just being completely square, because I'm drawing up and over, it'll leave a little bit of length to those layers in the back, okay? Now, you can see I've got that. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to change sides to the other side, okay? All right, so now on this side, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to bring this across. We're going to bring it up off of that angle. We don't want to wrap the hair. We want to bring it up so we get some even more layering out of it. Now, got to match it side to side, right? Just take a little bit. These layers are cut square. So we're going to take a little bit off the very top center of what we just cut right there. Don't want to get too much or your guide will be off. We're going to bring that right out to match, okay? Okay, and as I get ready to cut, just one more time every time. I just want to check the guide. It's good. Staying square to the line, square this way. Take that right off. Right above the other parietal. Again, picking up that next piece from the back. It's easiest sometimes to pre-section it just so you've got it. At this point, I don't need to worry about any guides underneath there. My layers are cut to a square static line, so I'm just going to bring this over to the same spot. I have my square. Come in and take that off. Great, so we're going to take that last little bit, bring it across again to the same square line. That over direction will allow a little bit of flow, as we talked about before, into the crown layers in the back so they're not just completely square, okay? Now, as I bring the layers down from the top, you can see that what I'm getting here is this really nice and giving us the shape that we're looking for, okay? Next will be into the two sides to bring that all together, and of course the upper part of the back. All right, so going into the sides, you can see this really nice shape that we've generated here, but what we don't want is earmuffs on the side either. We want that layering to come all the way down. Now, when we're working away in the salon, it's very easy to just get going and kind of forget something that's very, very important, which would be our perimeter length, so we don't cut into it. So, if you're cognizant of it, don't worry about it. For me, especially when I'm showing somebody, I like to take a little bit of hair just above the ear so that I don't lose the integrity of the strength of my perimeter. So I'm going to just take a little bit of that hair and I'm going to clamp it. So as I'm combing, I don't catch it and all of a sudden cut into an area that, you know, I don't want to have get cut. I'm going to take all of this hair up again. We're working in block sections here. I'm going to take all this hair up and elevate. Again, I'm going to subsection it because my hands are not huge. And take all that hair up, that last little bit there. We're going to come right up to where we cut before, right? So as we come up, I'm going to catch what we cut on this side. Again, I'm working totally square to the same section line that I did. I'm going to bring this all up. As I come up, I'm staying above the parietal. I'm not going into the interior. I can see where my previous cut was. I'm going to come right in here and I'm going to take that hair off totally square. Now, mind you, instead of cutting this hair this way with the shear, I'm actually going in and lifting that hair up, and then I'm going to come up and I'm going to cut again from the top, and that way the blade of the shear is cutting the hair this way so the hair will float out. It's a minute little thing, but it really does help. Okay, now when I bring that down, you can see that I've got the integrity. My layering can even be a little bit disconnected, but it brings it right down into all that. I get that, all that hair spitting out, but I'm not losing the thickness at the bottom. Continuing on, same thing. I bring all this hair from that line as I come around to the back, just like we did when we did the top. We're going to bring all this hair over here so that we continue building a little bit of length in the layers as it comes around to the back. So I'm going to bring this all up square to the same spot. I'm not sure my mannequin likes me right now. Okay. And I'm not worried about any of this hair. All I'm worried about is that edge, okay? As long as I have that, I know that I'm good to go. Okay. There we have it. Again, straight off the top. Right there. Bring that down. And that brings everything around with all that layering to the back. We're going to texture this for bulk, but I want to show you as I come around with that, see those layers just start to fall because of the over direction, those layers start to fall a little bit softer into the length of the back, okay? Now we're gonna go on to the other side. All right, continuing on to this side of the hair. Again, we're gonna just take a little bit of that hair and put a clamp in it just as a safety valve so we don't overcut it. Come right down, pick up all of that hair to right above the parietal. There we go. Just like that. There it is. There's my guide. You can see a little skinny bit of it. Take that off. The nice thing with this, for a modern shag, is in taking the bulk out with the extreme angle of a high elevation, it keeps the line from going and swelling out. You get the swelling out naturally with the head shape, but with the length and the layers, then it stays flatter and more square, hence what we're seeing in the more modern version of a shag. Okay, picking up that last section, again, being very cognizant about staying square to the line that I'm cutting. If I was going around the back, then I would start cutting shorter and shorter, and I don't want to do that. I want to keep everything consistent, okay? So bringing this all over to the square line, coming right up, taking that off, okay? Now, that gives us our whole basis of the haircut, the whole overall shape. What we need to do now is to put some texture in, personalize the weight, and we're going to cut a little bit of fringe in there too, a little bit more than what is already there, okay? Great, so we've got our layering pattern in, we've done all of that work. You can see how that's setting in very nicely. We're staying square through here, getting volume in through here. I did come really quick and check. I'm getting a nice V pattern all the way back, so I've got good balance, but I've got a lot of weight that I can remove. And I love to cut hair like this, okay? I love to just have an immediate impact on a large area versus tiny, minute little sections, although I like to cut hair that way too, but this is fun, especially for the clients too. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna visually look and see, where do I have weight that I wanna remove, okay? There are a variety of ways that I can remove this weight. I can come in here just above the parietal at this point, and I can come in here and I can come back to our original pattern and bring this all up to this point, and I could typically come in and I could point cut that out. I could come in and bring it way up, and I could do a whole bunch of little point cuts, okay? The main thing to remember is, if I bring all this up and I do all of my point cutting right there, and I bring everything else to that point, then I'm gonna have deep there, but by the time I get down here, because of the over direction, I'm only gonna be texturing that much. So if you want a texture in this position, but you want more out down here, then subsection it, bring it up, put all of your texture in, then bring the next section up and start where you want the texture to happen, whether it's there, or whether at the ends. But if you do it all in one spot, you're gonna have less texture through the section as you get into the length, simply because of that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in vertically and take a good look at this. I'm gonna come right at the front of the ear, get that out of there. And I'm gonna pick this up. I'm using the widest teeth of my comb so it stays very loose. I'm just gonna pick it up, see what I've got. I can see, well, I missed a hair there. I can see where I have weight that I wanna remove. And it's mostly right in there. So as I do that, I'm gonna pick that up and I'm just gonna let that hair hang, okay? I can see the weight in there. I'm gonna go in and just do some nice slices out of it, okay? That's all I wanna do. I'm gonna drop it down, See if that's giving me the weight removal. It is. I think I'm going to have a little bit more that I want to take off, but I'm going to start with this. Really see where it's strong there. Again, I'm just going to manipulate that hair a little bit. Just come in, and I'm reading it. I comb through it, but then I'm almost combing straight down, lifting. I'm just letting it happen. I'm going to bring this in, take a good look at it. Come around here. I can see that now it's getting lighter right in through there. If I want more bulk out in here where I've got a whole lot of bulk, I can easily come in and continue working in that same manner. But I can also come in for that bulk on the very, very length, also come in, and at this point I can change shears, and I can actually go to a texture shear, and I can come in and I can just start taking that out wherever I want it. If I want to get into the interior more, I can actually go in and back cut this. I can go in and cut it, push it away, cut it, push it away, cut it, push it away, cut it, push it away. That will take out a whole ton of bulk. It'll allow for more expansion in this area as it dries, but it'll still allow it to stay square. Okay? All right, so moving into the fringe. I like the fringe as it is. Certainly we have these wonderful length for, curtain bangs, and we could go with that. But I want to cut a little bit of hair off too at the same time. So I'm letting all that just kind of come down in. I'm not going to take a lot off here. I mean, you could bring this way up and do a traditional fringe, a bang as we Americans call it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here. I'm just going to twist this a little bit and come down on it, starting just above her nose. A little bit of a filling of curtain bangs. I'm certainly leaving enough length for them to be moved into that point, but I just want to get a little bit of that bulk out of there with this. And it's going to allow me to come into the edge of the sides too and take a little bit here and there out of there. Okay. This I might even slide a little bit, but I'll slither that shear down, kind of take a look and take a whole lot out of there. We'll elevate and get a little bit more. But see, it just allows me to get a nice irregular breakup of that fringe, and yet she's still got the hair to do a curtain bang, obviously, but at the same time, if she's out dancing, that gets in her face, she's got a really nice look, right? Go over to the other side, we're going to do the same thing from there. All right, and then on this side, same thing, we're just going to come in, give a little twist here and there, take some of that out. Really just looking for very random softness in through here. Again, trying to keep the integrity of the length of the bangs. See where we're at. A little bit more off there. If they're not absolutely perfect, that's fine. Some of that can come out just for a little bit more texture going on in there. Now, I love the options we have behind the chair. I live in the state of Oregon, so we have an extremely diverse population there. We have people that like their hair just absolutely coiffed and perfect. We, of course, have the extremely casual. You can blow this out. You can also put like a little bit of COLURE's Curl Wave on there and just put a light, soft bit of wave to it and let it dry naturally. It really gives you a variety of what you want to do. The main thing to realize, though, is with this length in front that we've generated and the shortness of the interior layers, short hair pushes long, correct? Okay, this will have that push forward just because of the layering. It's not really inverted, but it's allowing the curvature of the head and the shortness of the layers combined to push that hair forward. But it just gives us a nice, fresh feel on a shag. The only thing left that I have to do is I've got some bulk to take out back here and a finish. But that is the haircut in totality. Other than that, it gives you a nice option. All right, continuing on, we're going to come right in with the little Spray Plus. Doesn't take a lot, but a little bit. I'm going to go through the whole head with that. Okay. There we go. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up our non-aerosol mousse. Fantastic mousse. Very, very light. Breaks down quite nicely, almost to a liquid, but has the integrity of that mousse. But it just sets into the hair so nicely. Actually hard to overuse. If you have this product and you're selling it to a client, please make them aware that it's pretty easy to overuse it because it's such a high performing product and it does have that actual liquid feel, and we don't want to end up overusing product, although, you know, they'll come back and buy it more often, right? So we're going to get all this in there. And then as I come in, I'm going to crush blow dry this a little bit to help set it up, get that mousse activated. But at the same time, what I am going to do, because it is mousse on my hands, what I am going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to take just a little bit of the Shine Serum and layer that in just so that when I'm working the hair, my hands tend not to get sticky. Okay? It is a mousse. As it dries, if it's on my hands at the same time, it's going to start pulling. And I don't want that. I want to just be able to crush it, go from there. So we're going to apply a little heat, but not a lot of air. Okay? Not going to knock me off. I'm going to take the whole thing and lift it, crush it into my hand. I'm just going to get heat inside my hand. Give it a little bit and then just lightly come off. Take my fingers open, I'm going to come right above it, get just the top of what I did, come up, I'm against the scalp. I'm going to put a little bit of heat in there, a little bit of massage, don't be in a hurry. We're going to coax it, I'm just rubbing my fingers and letting it fall. I'm going to grab the whole thing, bring it up in a gentle fist, a little bit of heat, and just allow that to expand. Down here, gentle fist. Okay, a little bit of crushing. Come above it, fingers at the scalp, elevate. Airflow right at the root. Then I'm going to come down in again. I'm going to grab all that, a gentle crushing in my fist. Bring that up. Look at that, it's just starting to set in right away. That's still quite wet. That's the strength of the product. Even though it's a very light, pliable mousse, gives me that strength already. There's no other holding product on here, right? As long as I don't mess with it too much, I won't fuzz it. Oh God, we don't want fuzz. So again, I'm at the scalp, the heat. Now, I'm thinking of my haircut. As I am at this point, I'm at the parietal ridge. I don't want to expand this shape this way, or we're going to end up with a circle. We cut this hair to be a square line, to lay flatter, full, and then to come around and come off. So as I come up to this point, the last thing I want to do is generate volume on the bottom part of that parietal ridge. okay? I'm gonna come right into the top, and I'm gonna lift that up. I'm gonna just take open fingers like a diffuser. I'm gonna lift it up, and I'm gonna get all my heat, my airflow, right in at the roots. Once it's in there and it starts to settle, I'll massage it and leave it alone. Same thing in the front of it. It's gonna be that way throughout the top. But notice as I'm pulling this up and working with it, I'm pulling up above the parietal and out, but I'm not pulling out that 45. I don't want that expansion to create a roundness, okay? Same thing in here with my fringe that we just cut, like that. And then I'm gonna come right back over here. All right, so let's go back over what we did today. We cut our perimeter line, trying to get this modern shag. Came right in at that point, parted parietal to parietal, horseshoe, split it down the middle, over directed from the center to this side, cut it coming right off of that angle off the head without wrapping. Took it there, brought this one back across, same thing, no wrapping, just right above the parietal line. Went in, captured the very edge of the perimeter so we didn't overcut that. Brought all this up to that previously cut hair on the top, from the center and back, brought around, all cut up square. Followed the same pattern essentially for texturizing, although we did bring it out, do a little more freehand texturizing. Stayed with the curtain bangs that were already there, but broke them up a little bit more. And then of course went in and applied some of our spray shine and our wonderful mousse, and then a little bit of the shine serum on my hands to work with the hair, and then just crush dried it. Now, the thing that I want you to realize is that if this is extremely dense hair, as you can see, if you can see it, it says do not cut down here. I've had this mannequin a long time. I've so been looking for a reason to cut it down because it's so thick, and so I'm happy to have cut this mannequin down. But if you don't have as dense a hair, and you're worried about the perimeter having some strength to it, when we look at that side, there's still strength that you see in the bottom perimeter line, then bring that up a little bit, okay? Clip that off so that you don't take out too much hair as you're layering. Bring that up. Conversely, if you have tons of hair like this, take it all off, baby. I mean, it's good to do. You can see the hair, because of the shape of the head and the way we cut it, wants to set slightly forward. The one thing I don't like is I hate to see a completely flat crown with all that volume. So the way we brought that around allows you to keep a little bit of volume, so it's not like they just got out of bed, right? But the hair all pushes forward. Very, very easy pattern to cut, but at the same time, gives you a lot of variety depending on the hair that you're working with. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can use it. I'm Charles Church with COLURE Hair Care. Thanks for joining us, guys.